But yeah, so let's open up this conversation. Okay, so why is it so challenging to say what you do in business? I mean, I was talking with my husband about this, and we were talking about how if you have a very specific product, like or service, you're a plumber, that is very clear cut, or you're a very specific type of doctor who performs a certain kind of surgery, like you can tell people. But when you're in this kind of multi hyphenate world, especially on Substack, and you're trying to define your business to other people, it can get quite murky. And I'll make myself a bit of a case study here, and if you guys want to chime in, and you can, if they're, like I know a lot of us here are growing businesses. Some of you have coaching businesses. Um, if you want to share what kind of products and services you offer, please feel free. But so to give you a sense, so my background is communications and marketing. I worked for 16 years in communications. Hey, Monica, thanks. Yeah, if you just joined, um, please feel free to drop some comments. But yeah, so my background is communications marketing, and I always was very passionate about the why behind a business. I worked for an animation company for 7 years, and uh, the why behind the business was bringing stories to life, literally animating these stories, bringing them to life. And I always thought the why was the most important aspect of a business. If any of you saw Simon Sinek's viral YouTube video, it went viral, I want to say like 15 years ago. It's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. I'll post it at some point. I've written about it before in articles. But his whole thing was that really inspirational brands do start from the why first. He has this golden circle, he calls it, where you start from the why and then you go to the how and then the what. And so that was like an epiphany to me, the why, yes. And for me, my why is is ultimately, I feel like coming into your fullest range of expression, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're an educator or a writer or a creative, like coming into that fullest version of yourself is, for me, the most important thing, and it's like part of my life journey. I was a very shy kid. I had a little bit of a lisp when I was a child. I always wanted to act, become an actor, become a writer, express myself, but I was very shy. So my life purpose has been this process of coming into full bloom of my expressive abilities. And it's interesting that my path was also to go into communications and become an actor and own my writing skills. But so me, that was like my why. Like I had those blocks early on in my life, and working through those blocks to come to that full range has been my life mission. One of the most worthwhile journeys that I've been on. And I've had to hack my own brain. And that's why I got certified in hypnotherapy, is because hypnotherapy has been this tool that I've used to clear my blocks. And I have to do it regularly, like all humans am plagued with self-doubt, anxiety, the things that come up, and they come up regularly. It's sort of like this mental fitness. So long story short, that has been my life purpose, life path, and it's been the thing that I've wanted to turn into a business. And Substack gave me this beautiful platform to, yes, we are works in progress. I couldn't agree more, Monica, just ever evolving. But so Substack gave this like beautiful platform to start exploring what a business could potentially be. And for the first, 2 years I was writing on Substack, um, it was just exploration of the voice. And my first goal was really to free it, come, work through imposter syndrome, work through the blocks that would show up, work through feeling invisible, work through all those like mental challenges that came up. And I didn't necessarily have a business in mind at that time, but did get certified in hypnotherapy. Like I knew I wanted to work in this capacity. And yes, Emmett, our minds are our prisons, really, truly. Um, so yeah, the exploration phase of Substack was really important for me. And it was quite amazing to have this community. And it was a small community. I was just writing to a handful of people at first, but I could feel my work was having an impact through people's comments. And you might be familiar with the one post that I made about promote your work like a sociopath. And I always say that to empaths because we'll promote our work once and then, think the world doesn't want to hear from us again. And so we kind of have to bypass that really sensitive part of ourself that feels too much, feels like, you know, um, it's the spotlight effect as well. We feel like we're on this stage, but really people aren't watching you as much as a person feels like they are. That's our cognitive bias that makes us feel that's true. So we have to bypass that part of our brain that makes that really loud. And so that was the beginning part of my journey. And then um I wanted to turn it into a service of sorts, and so I first articulated my why. That was my deep personal message. And I think that is important. But many of us do that pretty naturally, I think. If you know your why, throw it in the chat. I would be really curious to know if I'm actually accurate on that. Maybe people don't know their whys. Your why it often comes from your early life, like those blocks, the obstacles that you came into early life. And the reason why the why is so important is because it can fuel you when you burn out or when you've lost kind of a sense of what your purpose or your mission is in your work. You can plug back into that deeper purpose. So that's why it's really an engine. But yeah, this Substack chat with Dennis that we were going to have got me thinking about the what really specifically. And the what is, it's the product, it's the service, it's the mechanics behind what you do. Um, and for me, it's starting to evolve now. Like some of you might be aware, I'm offering these theta therapy audio recordings, and I'm putting them on YouTube. But my paid subscribers get it as a downloadable version without the little sales pitch at the beginning. And I'm slowly building out what the experience is for paid subscribers. They also get access to an hour-long tutorial about how to get started here on Substack. So like, even that guide at first I was like, oh, this guide is like off brand for me because I'm not here to be a Substack guru per se or, like teach people about Substack. But I was really thinking about it. And, getting started on Substack is a part of clearing blockages that would help a creator get started to express themselves on this specific medium. And so, yeah, I'll widen a little bit again. When thinking about my business, I think about it as it's a transformation business. And that sounds very like murky and big and vague, but it is a media business. It's a transformation voice led business. And there's a lot of us out there. I imagine a lot of you have this kind of business as well. So the key becomes like, how do you turn that into things you can offer that are very valuable for your audience? Yeah, transformation business, Monica. I imagine, are in this similar business. You write about grief. If you feel like sharing in the comments a little bit what you do, I would love to hear in your words. But I know you have written about grief and Um, yeah, and I also think knowing your audience, that's another component of knowing, who you are and what you do. Brian, I'm just reading what you're saying. Brian says, and I was at a financial presentation last night. The guy began his pitch talking about his young family and his wife's diagnosis of cancer. Really grabbed the audience. His why is around her passing and the planning they did. Powerful opening. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Your why is often it's connected to your story. Simon Sinek, I believe he said this was a long time ago, but I believe he said your why doesn't really change. Like there's it's such a core of your story that it's really a core, and your hows and your whats can change, but your why really stays intact. So all of the services and products, I think that will come from my media voice-led transformation base business. I love that. Media voice-led transformation business will be will ultimately come out of that why, that I want to help people go from blocked to expressed. It's as simple as that, but it took me a long time to just articulate that. Monica, you're saying divorce recovery. Oh, that's right. I remember that. Feminine wisdom, self-esteem, empowering ourselves, connecting. Yeah, I love that. Uh, Monica, I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but have you started to roll out services, products from that, that identity yet? If you feel like sharing, you can. But, as I'm always looking for role models as well, like people who are doing what I'm doing, just, it helps you see other people in the world. And you guys might laugh at this, but Oprah. And Oprah, like, obviously, I'm not Oprah. I'm not going to be Oprah. Like, I get cringe feelings even saying that, putting myself in that category. But Oprah is a voice-led transformation media business. Emmett. Yeah, I'm laughing at myself too. Uh, and she started as a journalist. We could consider all of ourselves journalists here on Substack, writing. You wrote to her magazine today. I went, oh, that gives me chills. What did you write? I'm curious. Yeah, but that's really what she is. And she started as this journalist. And for the first, I mean, I don't know how many years, but I would say several years, like I would even guess like at least 5 years, maybe 10, she was just establishing trust in her voice, trust with her audience. And I think a lot of us are in that phase on our Substack. It's just the showing up consistently, writing to whatever schedule you've set out for yourself, whether it's monthly or weekly or biweekly, committing to that and showing up to your audience, to your readers, making that commitment and developing your voice over time, sharing it, and people get familiar with it. They know who you are over time. Yeah, I know. That is awesome. I'm very curious. I think actually there's another Substacker on here. He's not in here right now, but pretty sure he was the president of Oprah magazine. He's a subscriber to my newsletter. I wish he was on here right now, but he was, and now he works for the Tony Robbins organization. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, like, she has been a role model, and one of her big product services was her book club, her community, her book club. And you shot a pitch idea for a magazine about yourself, your memoir. Amazing. Okay, fantastic. Well, I wish you luck with that. You definitely have to keep us updated how that goes. And Tony Robbins too. Well, that's funny. Um, Brian says, when you are the brand, people want to know your why. It's the most important thing in your opinion. Yeah, I agree. It is. It allows people to know you, and that's where that trust factor comes in. But then going back to the what is really, really challenging because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I feel like it can box me in to something. And sometimes as well, you'll try something on and realize it's really not for you, or it wasn't what you thought it would be. Right now, I feel like quite reinvigorated because the Theta audios, I feel very passionate about it and I have a lot of ideas for them. So that's the newest, well, it's not quite new, but that's something I'm really digging my feet into. Uh, Um, Works are another thing. I've offered one so far and it has made revenue, which I'm proud to say. I had no expectations about sales, but I've made about 6 sales from it. And I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but in those early days, it tells you yourself, you can bring something to life and it has value for other people. Brian, you say, my why is easy. I agree. The what is challenging. And you just throw things against the wall and see what people respond to. I think that's the phase so many of us are in the beginning. We need to experiment. You need to throw things against the wall. Coaching is another arm of what I offer. And Brian, I know you do that as well, right? I believe so. Gumroad, yeah. Gumroad is actually what I used to launch my Substack for Beginners course. It was excellent. They do take quite a fee from it, and it'll be less, I think, if you pay for the service. But right now, it's a free service, so I'm fine with that at the moment. But I really do like Gumroad a lot. I had taken a course about how to launch a product, and Gumroad was one of the suggestions on it when you're starting out. But it's excellent. It's very intuitive, user friendly. I'm able to link it right to my Substack homepage website. So if you go to my website, you'll see a little button that says like how to get started on Substack. You click it, it'll take you right to Gumroad. However, I also offer my paid subscribers, part of their subscription is they get that. They get that for free. So there's this balancing. If paid subscriptions are going to be a part of what you do, you have to think about, why is it different from free subscriptions? And sometimes you don't necessarily in the beginning really have to articulate that and like figure it out perfectly right away. Because I remember when I first launched my paid subscriptions, I waited a long time. It was after 2 years of writing here that I launched them. Which is silly because I could have opened them up anyways in the beginning and just, you never know. Someone might just want to support your work. But when I did turn on paid subscriptions, that was the first paid subscriber I got. And I'm so grateful for him because he wrote a note and he said, "Thank you for finally letting me support your work." So there was just there's some people who just want to support you because of you, who you are, what you offer. And that's just it. That's good enough. You don't have to necessarily offer all these things. Like, yeah, you want to work towards that. But if you're writing here consistently, you're showing up, you're offering your audience something, there's value in that. And it's interesting because I think creative types like myself, we sometimes undervalue what we offer and who we are. So that's something to think about. I mean, I'm just reading. Wait, let me just scroll down. Oh yeah, Stan Store is another option. I haven't looked into it, but I know friends who use it. They don't take such a big bite. Okay, but you do have to pay monthly. Okay, that's worth looking at. Thanks for that, Brian. Oops, I'm trying to read these comments. Oh, Monica, you just launched paid subscriptions? Awesome. I know it is scary at first, right? But it's great you're doing that. Just remind yourself you're letting people the choice to support you if you want. And there's no pressure there, and you'll continue building and offering more things of value, but what you offer is valuable. Emmett, you say, I'd share more with you, but it's all basically formerly incarcerated writer using your memoir, public work to change Americans to understand mass incarceration. Whoa, that's powerful. And reaching out to Oprah because her platform has a history of lifting prison memoirs that move the culture. No, no, don't apologize. That's fascinating. And yeah, I think she is a great person to reach out to. Uh, and you might reach out to like medium sized and smaller creators like her or people like her, like media publications as well. I would just hit all of them, get your story out there. Yeah, you have your query pitch email. Find a bunch of those kind of publications and send it out. Because even if you get, like, say, a smaller fish, even a podcast that you can tell your story on, that becomes collateral that you can use and put on your website. It's like you can put a press kit together that says, "Oh, I talked on this podcast," and you can get testimonials from the publications that you go to. Yeah, so good luck with that. I'm excited for you. It's funny, I wrote about this a couple when did I write about this? Maybe 5 articles ago. I talked about when the first blog post I ever posted was a blog that went defunct, but I wrote about, this dead mouse. So I won't go into details, it's kinda squeamish, but I was, like, just trying to get my voice out there and trying to write, and I was really struggling with a block, really struggling with, like, I have nothing valuable to say or offer people, but I knew I was a good writer. I knew I had something to share, and I was just at home on a semester break from university, and I bought a book on writing query letters. I actually still have it in my shelf. I could go pull it off right now. I bought this book and I taught myself to write a query letter. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna pitch my like where I grew up, the newspaper of the city I grew up. I'm gonna pitch them a column idea. Literally, I had so much self-doubt. I did not think this was gonna get picked up, and I said, "How about I write a column about small town girl who leaves her small town to goes to the big city to become an actor, and I'll tell you all about the trials and tribulations she goes through, and I'll work in stories about the North, living in a small community in the North versus now being in the big city." And I sent that off thinking I'd never get a response. And I got an email back from the editor saying, "Love it. We'll give you a bi-monthly or yeah, bi-monthly column." I nearly fell off my chair. I couldn't believe it. But that's how that's how anything starts, right? And we just have to put it out into the world and see, like you were saying, Brian, how it responds back. We have to do it over and over and over again. I'm a recovering actor. I have like a complex that I'm working through, this feeling of sometimes what I do isn't getting traction. And I think a lot of us on Substack can feel like that sometimes. We feel like we're writing into a void. But our writing does have impact. And I think when we are you a recovering actor too, Emmett? I am definitely. Um, but it does, and I think when you stick with something long enough, acting aside, acting is another, I mean, very challenging industry because it's so saturated and there's very little jobs for the amount of actors there are out there. So a lot of it is also understanding your market. If you might turn into one. Well, I highly recommend it for the spiritual journey and the craft. Turns it's a tough one, but it's been a great teacher for me as well, and it really helped me come into my voice. My internet connection is unstable. I've been dealing with this for a couple days, so I apologize in advance if I freeze or anything, but we will keep plugging along. Um, I've missed a few of these comments. I'm just curious, does anyone wanna hop on here with me? I would love to ask you about your business and, um, yeah, and just talk with you about 10 minutes or so. I'm only gonna stay on this for about 10 more minutes. I told myself about 40 minutes, I'll do this live, and, yeah, if anyone wanted to hop on, I know that's, like, scary and daunting, but take a chance if you want, and then I'll figure out how to add you. I think I know right here, this little people sign. Monica, not today, another day. Yeah, get it. But someone had just talked about the word bloom. Emmett, you said that's important, finding your voice and letting that light bloom. Yeah, bloom for me is such an important word. I just going back to that life purpose. I really believe we're all like flowers. We're all like these unique individual flowers, and our purpose is to bloom to whatever full expression that flower is and or has within it. And it's interesting, I came across this idea, this metaphor from a poet called Mark Nepo, and he said how, roses that don't open and they stay closed, and at the florist shops they discard them. They're actually called bullets. When I heard that, I was like, wow. You know, for me and probably for a lot of people, it's like that inability to open and come into one's expression is some form of like self annihilation, not to be so dark, but I do feel like that. We all feel this like intense impulse. I mean, shouldn't generalize so much. Maybe some people don't feel this, but I think a lot of us feel that impulse, that desire to come into our full communicative, expressive abilities in whatever form it is.